Visions of Mana, the newest mainline entry in the Mana series in a very long time. Coming out August 29th, Square decided to drop a demo for us to get a little taste test of the game. And I was really interested to try this because, you know, we've had a lot of Souls games and Souls-like combat systems recently, which I love, of course. But, you know, I wanted something a little more colorful. You know, I wanted a nice button-mashy jrpg with some crazy spells, super moves, and all this wacky stuff. So I had my eyes on Visions of Mana pretty sternly. I was like, dude, this looks like the game for me right now, and I was pleasantly surprised with this demo in a few areas and a little bit concerned in others, but overall I had a really good time and wanted to give you guys all my thoughts on my playtime with the game. The best thing for me through this entire demo is the movement and the way they let you traverse around your environment. So if you know me, you know I don't like invisible walls, I don't like being chained to certain linear sections. Like, I love my linear games, right? But let me interact with the environment, and Visions actually does a great job with that. You have a double jump with all your characters, your sprint button really has your characters legging it, which I love, so even without your mounts you could get around the environment pretty quickly. They have items on top of rooftops and other environmental wind hazards or other things you can activate with the elements that'll just, like, let's say, shoot you up into the sky to get a certain treasure chest on a mountain. So the environmental stuff and exploring was actually pretty good. That's where I see this game's strong suit. We're gonna have a very pretty environment to explore through this world when the game comes out, and we're gonna be able to do it in a fun way. You saw in the trailers, there's flying mounts, there's water mounts, there's a whole bunch of different ways you're gonna be able to get around the environment, and that was definitely my favorite aspect. Along with that, the combat was pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. You know, I expected it to be a little bit of an upgrade from Trials of Mana, and while it is like that, they definitely kept some of the aspects. Like, one of them is keeping those AoE red markers on the ground, almost like an MMO, and you're most of the time dodging out of the way of those instead of dodging through moves with, like, iframes or something like that. So you want to keep aware of your environment and spacing as the enemies are pulling out their giant moves. So that was from Trials of Mana, which they ported over here kind of and built upon. I love the new dashes though. In Trials of Mana, you just had this, like, dodge roll that was pretty good, but this game, you just got these quick dashes. You could jump into the air and really juggle enemies if you want to, and it feels pretty good. Now, I'm not going to say the combat is like A++. There's a few things, you know, where the screen will get cluttered or you're kind of just smacking enemies and it gets really button mashy, but it's kind of what the type of game it is. And, you know, the title being about mana and all these elements, they definitely did a good job with the spells. I loved throwing out all my spells. And then looking at the upgrade system, there definitely is going to be some depth here. They call them plots, which is basically your build. Like, if you look here, there's two different mage builds. Like, one's your normal mage, and then if you go down here, it says buffing, so you're going to be like a buffer to buff your team. And then if you go to your attacker here, you go down and it says tank. So it seems like you could actually build each of these characters the way you want. I'm not fully sure, as we don't have the full game, so we can't build out characters, but as much as these characters have their set builds like attacker, tank, and mage, it looks like you could actually change the plots on each of them, which I'm guessing is going to change their outfits and their elements like we were seeing in the trailers. So there's definitely going to be some variety and team building here. So I'm pretty much sold on the gameplay. I enjoy the combat system, I enjoy the movement, and the environments are really pretty. I was also playing on PS5 and I was doing the performance mode, and it rarely dropped a frame. It was pretty much a solid 60 FPS. While the game looked pretty crystal clear, so they definitely optimize it well. I've heard some friends it glitched a little bit on PC and it crashed even for one of my other friends, so I'm not sure how well Square is going to optimize it for PC. You know, their PC ports could be a little wonky. So one of the only concerns I had with this, but it was a little bit of a decent concern, is the character models in the cutscenes. Now, I'm usually not one to complain about this. I love all the different art styles for JRPGs, even if some of them may look cheap at times. Like, I was a fan of Star Ocean 6, and Star Ocean 4's character models never even bothered me that much, and everyone complained about those. This game, though, I really feel like their eyes do not look anywhere. Like, I will play a little scene for you guys, and you gotta play it for yourself. It's kind of hard to see on YouTube, but I don't know if you'll see what I mean, but it's like they have no expression. Their face will make movements, but their eyes just kind of stare into your soul. And I was just like, I'm actually not the biggest fan of these character models. Like, the designs aesthetically are fine. I know it's very kind of fantasy and everything's very pretty and colorful, that's fine. It's more the way their faces are animated. So that was my biggest thing, that along with the story. Like, if this game's story can match its gameplay and stuff, it's gonna be a really banger RPG of the year. But there's a chance this story is just kind of on the mid side, you know, fun, but nothing just blowing you away or anything like that. So I do hope that the cutscenes and character models and story, once the full game comes out, also carries the game alongside its gameplay.
Let's keep considering the target.
I like to keep things interesting.
What a coincidence that we meet up again here of all places. You left so suddenly last time.
Sorry about that. You two looked like you had everything covered.
Yeah, they're alms too. Karina, the Alm of Wind, and Morley, the Alm of the Moon.
Really? The only...
Overall, it wasn't the biggest deal because I know this game is kind of like a AA game from Square Enix. It's not one of those AAA titles, and again, the game looks gorgeous, so it's not the biggest deal, but that was the only thing I kind of picked out from the demo where I was just like, it looks a little weird. But overall, I'm actually very hyped for Visions of Mana. It's a day one for me. I will be covering it on the channel for sure. Hopefully this gave a little taste test to some people who have not played the demo. Maybe you wanted a little more info on the game and all my thoughts on it. So yeah, I hope you guys are trying it out for yourselves. Let me know in the comments. Are you enjoying it? Do you have any complaints? Is it your Mana game you've been waiting for, Mana fans? So hopefully you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Peace.